Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to check in and make sure that if you're online, you can hear me, you can see me, I can see your thumbs. I love thumbs. Thank you for your thumbs.
Just a moment.
Well, it is so wonderful to be here. I feel like I'm in many places at one time. How can it be? Here in this room where I've been for much of several days, and in the Zendo at Minnesota Zen Meditation Center, and in a whole bunch of people's houses. I love being in your house. Thanks for letting me in. I appreciate it. We're at Hokyoji. There are about 20 of us here. There have been between about 15 to 20 people for the last 5 days practicing retreat. Hokyoji. I'm going to say some introductory things. Remember yesterday whenever the new people showed up and I said no introduction? Well, now I'm going to say some introductory things. Hokyoji was founded by Dainin Katagiri, the founder of MCMC, 40 or more years ago, and was owned by MCMC as a corporate entity until about 20 years ago when it became its own thing, its own wonderful going concern. And we have been in good relationship since then, and usually come down once a year for a retreat. And it's very beautiful. And I am enormously grateful for the many people who are taking care of this place. So thank you. And our practice here has been really beautiful. I'm looking around and saying, has it not been beautiful to be with you? To just pass through doors quietly and smoothly and carefully, and to just occasionally not be able to resist the impulse to open a door for someone and just let them pass, because we just have this sense of deep appreciation for togetherness. So sometimes when we have this Sunday talk from Hokyoji, people back home are like, oh, you just made me have the, what do they call it, the FOMO, the fear of missing out. But here at Hokyoji, many people during the last 5 days have had their FOMO for being back home. That's, we're a little like that as human beings. But our practice here of taking care of each other and living together in a way that's beautiful and intentional and creates lots of energy for remembering that what we do always matters and can always be an expression of a vow to liberate all beings. That is really precious, and it's been beautiful to watch. And there are lots of kinds of practices. So there's been the practices of our Unkyo and Killian, who've been making food for us. Oh, let's offer a bow. It's been so wonderful. And people, Ruzan, taking care of all the little logistics, maybe big logistics. And people taking care of their bodies as they sit and feel the energy of their spine lifting. People taking care of their hearts as they sit meditation and just notice, oh, well, I came here to be incredibly peaceful and I'm actually just really mad. And to be able to just notice anger with care, because there's a context that can remind us that that is possible and valuable and beautiful and meaningful. And people practicing just sitting and looking at stuff. There's a lot of the practice of just sitting and looking at stuff that goes on here. I've been noticing it. I enjoy that. Maybe listening to stuff I can't really see. There are many sounds. Coyotes, barred owls, and little bells, big bells, breathing. So lots of kinds of practices. And then I haven't been there. You know, I wasn't in your house. So that would be weird. But, and I wasn't at MZMC for the last 5 days, but I actually have confidence that people were doing a lot of different practices, unless you were like dead, in which case you probably wouldn't be listening to the talk. So you were doing all kinds of practices, like people were, I don't know, tucking children into bed at night. People were practicing walking down a hall on the way to a meeting. People were practicing clicking a pen, click, 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 while they waited for something to happen. People were practicing meditation in the morning at their houses. People were practicing taking some carrots out of the refrigerator. People were practicing saying, please stop throwing pebbles at your sister. People were practicing recognizing that they were just caught in the throes of some overwhelming anxiety, anger, judgment. People practicing walking down the street. All different kinds of practices. And here's the thing is, they all utterly depend on each other. None of this could have happened without all of that. None of this right now could possibly be happening without all of that. So thanks, everybody. I get to be alive. What an offering you have made to me so that I can be alive with all this conditioning. If someone can figure out how to go into time and remove something that happened, that would be very interesting to see what goes down. But I don't think it's possible. So consequently, that means all of your practice and all the practice everyone here has been doing anywhere is together. It all matters. And in the Huayan, we might say, within one is all, within many is one. Within one mode of dust is contained the 10 directions. Within each phenomena it is also thus. Immeasurable distant eons are one moment of mind, and one moment of mind is immeasurable eons. So, what I am deeply grateful for, I try and avoid saying I'm lucky, but I just kind of feel that way. I feel lucky that I got to spend 5 days where there was so much emphasis and so much energy, an entire religious tradition and practices and embodied wisdom brought to bear so that we could say each of the things we're doing can be an enactment of a vow to liberate all beings. To try and remember that, or feel it, or let what we do come from that. Because it is very easy in most of life, and even during retreat, to forget. And to have a life that is to some degree just a manifestation of some past habits. Some of which might be pretty good, but many of which don't seem to be working out all that great for everybody. So, I am really happy. And also, you know, we all get to come here and do this retreat because people are taking care of a lot of things. So we're really lucky. And we're taking care of something really important here. If you think Zen or Buddhism or meditation are good things. People need to do them in order for them to happen. And we're just doing it. It's not even that big of a deal. But I know that for many people, it's a huge commitment. You have to be like, honey, I'm going to be gone for 5 days. And your spouse looks at you and goes, okay, but I absolutely cannot understand why you keep doing this. You come home and I say, what happened? And you say, I saw a frog in the morning and it was really beautiful. And it's very hard to convey. So I know people make sacrifices to practice, and I appreciate it. So anyway, point being, we're all together. We all depend on each other here at Hokyoji, in the MZMC building, in wherever else other people are, inescapably bound together. So I've been talking about the Song of Dharma Nature all week, and I'm going to talk about it some more. The Song of Dharma Nature is also called the Seal of the Huayan One Vehicle Dharma Realm, or the Ocean Seal Chart, and I do have a new book, which is a commentary on this text, which is has been published, and I'll be giving a book talk about it on September 7th at MZMC. I guess we're calling it a book launch. Woo! So that talk will be an overview of the themes of the book and all that stuff. These talks are much more like, we're just going to chant the text and I'm going to talk about something about it that seems applicable for now. So I'm not going to give any kind of overview of what it says, which means that when we chant it in a few minutes, most people are likely to encounter many things in it that seem really weird or hard to understand or meaningless or maybe like even false. And that's okay. You know, I was thinking about this, you know, so many Buddhist texts are hard to encounter and we just chant them and you're like, I don't even know what's happening. And this is really good practice. I find, maybe you do too, that there are many people, or sometimes I'll think of them as like classes of people where I'm like, I do not get you. I cannot understand you. You know, you're in a conflict with someone in your family and you're just like, why would you do that? And no matter what they say, you don't feel like you understand. That happens. Sometimes, actually, we can find a way to understand. That's really beautiful. That's amazingly powerful. But sometimes the feeling is there of this utter incomprehensibility. So, of the many, many wonderful reasons to encounter Buddhist texts that you don't understand at all and you find frustrating, one of them is you get practice at being like, I am confronted with something that I find incomprehensible. And it's uncomfortable and I don't like it. And truly taste that in the context of a vow to liberate all beings from suffering. To remember, I'm doing this for a reason. Which will change, if we do that again and again, how we meet incomprehensible difference. So that's probably enough on that. I want to chant this text together. So we're going to chant this here in the Zendo, as we have been doing. At the Zendo at MZMC, I'm going to suggest you all can chant along. I'm going to share it on the screen. But chant kind of quietly so you can make sure that you can follow us so you don't end up with like feeling like you're lost. And if you're at home, I just encourage you to chant along however you want to and enjoy. Seal of the Huayan One Vehicle Dharma Realm. Dharma nature is all pervading harmony without duality. All dharmas are unmoving, fundamentally peaceful, without name, without characteristic, cutting through all. It is known in realized wisdom, not in another realm. True nature is so very profound, minutely subtle, not attached to self-nature. It arises dependent on conditions. Within one is all, within many is one. One is all, the many are one. Within one mote of dust is contained the 10 directions. Within each phenomenon it is also thus. Immeasurable distant eons are one moment of mind. One moment of mind is immeasurable eons. The 9 times and the 10 times are mutually identical, yet not mixed or disordered. They arise separately. The mind's first aspiration for awakening is true awakening. Life and death and nirvana are always identical. Universal and particulars are thus unfathomable, not distinct. This is the realm of the 10 Buddhas and Samantabhadra, the great ones. In the midst of Buddha's ocean seal samadhi, the abundant manifestations of wish fulfillment are inconceivable. This rain of jewels benefits all life, filling all space. All beings benefit according to their capacities. Thus, the practitioner returns to the true source without ending delusion. It is surely not attained. Unconditional, skillful means bring wish fulfillment. Returning home, effortlessly gaining treasures through Dharani, an inexhaustible treasure. Adorns the Dharma realm, a true jeweled palace, just sitting in the bed of the middle way, the ultimate reality. This original stillness is named Buddha. All right, well, I've spent so much time with this text. It's been I've had it printed on the wall over my desk at work and on a printed cloth that was sent to me from Korea, where it's used as very, very commonly in practice and in temples, and actually is almost an amulet of protection. So I've had it surrounding me for 3 or 4 years, and gone through giant tomes of texts about it and talked to many people who practiced with it, and it's almost a struggle not to just rhapsodize forever with no direction. But I'm up for the struggle, my friends. So I'm going to make some. I'm gonna try and make my remarks have some direction. So I want to talk about bodhicitta. So in the 16th line of the text, it says, the mind's first aspiration for awakening is true awakening. The mind's first aspiration for awakening is true awakening. And the term aspiration for awakening is, I don't know the Chinese pronunciation, but oftentimes it's a translation of the term bodhicitta. So bodhicitta means, simply you could just say awakening mind, or actually awake mind, mind of awakening. Sometimes people say way-seeking mind. But anyway, the mind's first aspiration for awakening is true awakening. So, I don't know about you, is you ever like sit in meditation, you're like, someday it will be different. I hope. My mind is too busy, or it's too dull, or I'm too tired, or I'm just too grumpy, or I'm too jittery. But this is a teaching of just don't wait. Don't wait. You're here. This is a precious opportunity, exactly like it is every time. A precious opportunity to recognize that you're awake. You can make an offering. So, bodhicitta is a very big theme in a lot of Mahayana Buddhism. In the Avatamsaka Flower Garland Sutra, there's about 15 pages towards the end. That's a series of about maybe 200 or 300 similes for why bodhicitta is so unbelievably awesome and more awesome than anything else. The call in a person's heart to devote themselves to liberation from suffering. It's like so wonderful because so much amazing stuff can flow from it. I mean, amazing stuff can flow from wanting to beat your little brother at Monopoly, sure, or wanting to make a little more money, or figure out how to get the door handle to work, or whatever it is. But this much broader sense of like, I know there's suffering. I know it's here. I know it's there. I care about all of it. And I just wish we could all be well. Then that's everything you do can be informed by that. That's why we have these gathas throughout Zen centers, when brushing my teeth. I'm going to clean away my delusions. I don't remember them very well. When washing my hands, wash away all harms. Eating this food, I do it for the liberation of everyone. So, in the text we just chanted, before it says the mind's first aspiration for awakening is true awakening, it has a whole series of things which are like very associated with what's called the Huayan or flower garland tradition. So it says, within one is all, within many is one is all, the many are one, within one mode of dust is contained the 10 directions, within each phenomena is also thus, immeasurable distant eons are one moment of mind. And one moment of mind is immeasurable eons. And anyone who's sat a retreat knows sometimes one moment of mind is truly immeasurable eons. Not always in a good way, but it is in a good way because it's part of your practice. So the context before they say the mind's first aspiration for awakening is true awakening is relentlessly saying each particular thing is the whole thing. So they've made the argument for this being true about everything, and then they go, but what's the thing that's most important? If each thing is everything, what's the most important thing? The mind's first aspiration for awakening is the whole thing. It's true awakening. They're trying to evoke a sense of vastness within that. So instead of being like, I'm just trying to like get myself to stop thinking so much, or I'm just trying to get my spouse to stop leaving dirty things in the sink, or I'm just trying to get a different elected official, whatever it is. we can say, I may be making an effort that is conducive to those things, but it is living in a bigger picture. Because otherwise, the narrowness of our attempt to do this thing here, oftentimes we leave people out. We leave ourselves out. People engage in political activity and exhaust themselves and damage themselves or the people around them in their movements. They try so hard to get their kids to do well in school that it harms their children. They try so hard to let their children be free that it harms their children. They try so hard to get the thing they want from their parents that they harm their parents. It's part of the deal. Many wonderful things, but sometimes things are hard. So, this big vow is about recognizing that even just a moment of caring is immeasurable and vast. The most famous simile from the Avatamsaka Sutra says something like, just as one lamp can light thousands of lamps without being diminished, one moment of bodhicitta can ignite thousands of moments of bodhicitta. So like Sangha practice is about coming together and we're like, and someone sort of reminds you like, oh yeah, life can really be about being free in a beautiful way. And there's just countless reminders in this context. Every time you're in a retreat and someone walks by you and doesn't look at you because we're practicing noble silence, they've offered you the opportunity to radically be here and be able to suspend the kind of chattery social activity that sometimes makes it hard to see the whole of the moment. So, in invoking bodhicitta, people will invoke ancestors. Be like, oh, so much has been given so I could have this opportunity to try and do something that contributes to the well-being of the world. So many people have practiced to make our lives, to make Zen, to make Buddhism, to make food culture. Wow. This kind of upswelling of seeing that big connection can help us feel some like gratitude or support. And when we're thinking about this context where they talk about the vow, before it's at the mind's first aspiration for awakening, we have all these lines about how the one is all and so forth. And, this is also pointing out what karma theory or trauma theory points out, is that the conditions of the past produce the kind of experiences we have. The conditions of the past produce the kind of experiences we have, and that really matters. but they're really, really vast. You know, it's like you sit down and meditate, and you're like, why am I annoyed? And be like, well, I think it's because 10 minutes ago I didn't like the way that person closed the door. That was great. I came in for the Dharma talk a couple days ago, and I might as well have knocked the whole front of the building off as I was coming in. So, I'm like, everyone's in the Zendo, and they're all like super quiet. I've got my materials. I'm trying to get the door open with my material. And the doors are very sticky here in the Zendo because this Zendo is being replaced, about which more for the retreatants later. But anyway, the building is very old and was built to be a very temporary shelter 40 years ago. So the doors are a little janky. Anyway, I don't want to blame the doors. I'm the one who's just like, welcome to the Dharma Talk, everybody. So, maybe someone's like, dude, man, ever tried practice? Yeah. So anyway, we might try and look back. All that ridiculous story was about trying to figure out, well, why am I like this right now? And that can be useful. It's like, oh, geez, I get reactive when X or Y happens. These are good things to know. They're really valuable. It's worth doing. Also worth being just like, you know what? I'm like this because of the universe. And in Buddhism, we say that's why you say, stupid universe. No, that's actually not what we say. No, we say it all. We say, this is the whole fruit of all time. So isn't it an opportunity to meet something? And, from the perspective of karma, it's like all the... We tend to experience the world through a human lens, and so it's human conditioning that makes our experience. That's the emphasis. And so, the way we think, the way we perceive, the way we feel, each thing we do, each tiny act of perception, thinking, or feeling plants seeds which create the kind of experience that people have. So, whoever it was the first person to be anxious. We should just blame it on them. No, of course, that's not how it worked, right? Organisms evolved to be able to experience fear. People worried. They talked to other people. They shared their lives. We worry together. And so we need care. We need care. And this is just pretty similar to modern descriptions of how trauma works. Basically, like you have an event, the phenomena of the event sort of produce a set of responses that might happen. So like something terrible happens to you, and there's fear, shame, or anger, or whatever. And then on future occasions, when something like that happens, you have fear, anger, and shame. And it's, much more complicated than that, but on the simplest level, it's just like when those experiences happen, they plant seeds for similar experiences to happen. So this creates a context where there's just a need for a lot of care. Almost like you should have like a whole movement that's about compassion. I wonder what that could be. There are so many. The wonderful thing is, I get to be a part of a tradition that's fundamentally about compassion and alleviation of suffering. But there's lots of other ones. And how beautiful is that? How beautiful is that? So, one moment, the mind's first aspiration, the mind's first aspiration for awakening is true awakening. So within the tiny, within the vast, there's tiny. Within the tiny, the whole vastness is here. A fly just landed on my nose. It looked pretty large. So somehow seeing, being able to see how big what we are in is, and I've been emphasizing in this retreat, just seeing it in the least metaphorical, imaginable vision, which extends even inside quite a ways. And if you go outside, the sky actually literally has no limit. There is no boundary to it. And you can just, it's there. Is already pretty large. And then the field of the body is infinite. It might seem smaller than everything else. It's okay. Uh, but there are many, many ways in our tradition to try and that I do that may be really unhelpful or helpful. And hearing me again? Oh boy.
They're working on it.
I'm wondering if you can let me know if you can see. Seems like you cannot see. There is no visible feedback coming from this thing. You're
Wow.
Hello, folks. Are you seeing me? or no?
It's choppy, Ben.
Have to abandon ship on our online offering here. No one is coming through. Do you have? What's that? Do you have contact with Dan at MCMC?
Yep. Connection to the internet from our.
Oh, so you.
Wi-Fi.
Okay.
I can text him, but.
Oh, we can see and hear now. Oh, good. I
Turn the video off.
Yeah.
This is very mysterious. Wow. Give some very brief remarks for the online audience, which you may or may not hear. But that's the best I can do. Talk out here, just in person. So, friends. Okay, someone asked me to turn my camera off. Okay, we're going to give all the energy, the audio, all the bandwidth is going to audio now.
Internet's back.
Great. Okay, audio is good now. Dear friends of the Dharma, what is the essential point of this talk? We are together. We are inescapably bound together. Our practice always matters. And one of the most powerful things you can do is choose to and get support for awakening in your heart, care for suffering that can draw you forward into a life of practice and can make you see that each thing you're doing is an opportunity for kindness, for patience, for seeing what's actually here. So this is something that I believe you know. But if you're anything like me, it helps to have a lot of reminders. And so we get together and we remind each other. And we can do it just in the way that we move together, and also how we speak and take care of each other, and how we are together when we are apart, because we're still together. So thank you all for coming. I am going to apologize for the technical problems on behalf of MZMC as the ones offering this talk. We appreciate your patience and appreciate your practice, and we'll see you all back home soon. So thank you all very much. Okay.
As I read the announcements, I'll pass the Donna ball.